gate, he was literally on course for world record pace and just shy of Eliud Kipchoge's world record by 2 seconds. And that showdown, as it's being billed in London, back here in London at the end of April, Bekele against Eliud Kipchoge, the two fastest marathon runners of all time, going head to head. That could be something rather special.
That could truly be incredibly special. And you know, he ran
place in the Olympic Games in Tokyo.
Absolutely, back to the lead of the men's race here, and you can see Chris Thompson is really trying to sit with, oh, that looks like a tight bend there. Chris Thompson really trying to stick on Bekele there. Yeah,
very much so. Just lost his balance there, but Chris Thompson really showing terrific early form here. He looks, if you look at the facial expression there, a man who means business here. And what a thrill it must be for him, regardless of what happens in the rest of this race, to be going toe-to-toe, just the two of them, with the great Quennenisa Bekele.
No, it's great to see Chris Thompson sticking on this, and we were wondering whether we get to see many of the Brits here with a dominant performance at the front, and it's brilliant to see Chris in the mix here.
So good vocal support on the streets, generous for the British athletes. $4,000 for the winner. There are prize bonuses, time bonuses as well.
And back to the men's race, just coming down this hill. Oh, that's interesting to see the mile splits here. We can see that they set off really quite aggressively there. They have settled down a little bit, but they're probably still operating at around 62-minute pace, do you reckon?
Yep, absolutely. They set off pretty quickly there with 4:24. World record pace is around 4:30, so that was pretty quick, that opening mile.
Yeah, like we mentioned, with Chris Thompson with a PB of 61 dead, you know, he's operating right in PB shape, and yeah, maybe you think really fancies having a go at that today. But he's pretty notorious for going off aggressively, Chris, and I can see him holding on to good time today from what it looks like so far.
Well, no sign at the moment of Marius Kipsarem, the Kenyan who was really given more prominence, I suppose, after the withdrawal of Lawrence Chirono. It's a real shame for Lawrence Chirono, who was really selected, I guess, to replace Mo Farah when he had to pull out a couple of weeks ago. And Chirono, of course, the in-form marathon runner, having won his last 3 marathons in Chicago brilliantly, and then Boston. He'll be defending his title in Boston in a few weeks' time, and then Amsterdam as well. He's very much the in-form athlete, so just a precaution. I think he felt a bit of a hamstring, I think, on Saturday morning when he went for his morning jog.
No, it shows him got to protect his body if he's got those marathons coming up. But you would have predicted we might have had one of those. So we get an awful lot of Ethiopia versus Kenya. They've got a massive distance running tradition, and it's great to see those two nations battling out. But I'd rather see Ethiopia versus Britain, and that's what we're getting treated to now.
Chris Thompson, of course, married to Gemma Simpson, who you know well from your days Absolutely. In 1500-meter running. That was a very strong era. I was looking back at your terrific run in Daegu just last night, just to remind myself, and they were healthy days for 1500-meter running, weren't they, for our country?
Oh, absolutely. No, we've got a great tradition of middle distance running on the female side and the male side as well, and it obviously. But you know, it's great to see. It's great to see just British running in general is just doing fantastic at the minute, and it's so exciting in an Olympic year.
Chris Thompson, who's a 4 times London Marathon athlete, and of course, in terms of his track pedigree,
It'd be great to see Chris make another Olympic team. He went to 2012, but he struggled a lot with injury. He was obviously delighted to compete in a home games, but not be able to give perhaps the best representation of himself for struggling with injury. So just to see him still out here fighting to make another Olympic team is really inspiration.
Well, here's the chasing pack in the women's race, and again we can still see Steph Davis there, left of picture in the white top. Lily Partridge is in there as well. Hayley Carruthers, all chasing down Samantha Harrison, who's, we think, about, what, 8 or 9 seconds as we were there. Sidbury in 3rd place. Danny Sidbury from Great Britain as well. Just from a technical point of view, Hannah, just zoom in on Quennenisa Bekele. What is most impressive about his running style?
It's just so economic. And it always has been. To me, there's not much difference from his track running style to his road running style. People talk about how you might need a different technique, but he just looks so smooth. And it's the cadence as well, when you can just clip your legs over like that. It looks unstoppable, doesn't it? And don't get me wrong, Chris was a good running style as well, but you can really tell the miles that have gone into both of these guys to help them run like this.
Well, they're back on the highway, which is where they started the race, about 23 minutes ago. And they're heading now towards Wapping.
No, you can see a bit of a glance behind from Chris there. Sometimes people say that's a sign of weakness. I don't think that didn't look like a sign of weakness today. I think he's just assessing what's going on around him and kind of trying to see whether he really is as clear in second as he feels. And they really have gapped the rest of the field here. I can't really see the people behind them getting anywhere near these two today.
And if you're Qananisa Bekele, you know that, with all due respect to Chris Thompson, your track record speaks for itself. Does he just use Chris perhaps as a little bit of company for the majority of the race and then just move away in the latter stages in terms of his preparation for London in 8 weeks' time?
Yeah, besides that is what you would anticipate on paper, but I'm pretty sure Chris is a ferocious competitor, and you generally never know what happens. I mean, Bekele could have had a bit of food poisoning, could have had a bit of cold, could be carrying a little strain. You know, and anything could happen, and that is the beauty of racing. They've got to race it today, but as you say, you would expect the Ethiopian to pull away from Chris here.
And unlike Bekele, Chris Thompson hasn't flown in from a different continent in the last couple of days, so we'll keep an eye on the men's race. But Steph Davis, back to her, as I say, 29 years old, 72.58, her personal best in the half marathon. She's saying a few weeks ago that she'd ideally like to turn semi-professional, so she's a complete amateur at the moment, and she lined up in the London Marathon last year with the elite.
In fantastic shape. He could have come here and just won, but no, he really wanted to test himself, and you can see that aggression and fatigue in his face, but you know, look below the legs, you can't see it.
No. And
that's what you like, just below the waist, sorry, you can just see his legs, just the momentum's keeping going, and he's really wanting to test his body today.
Well, I think it's a new revitalised Qananisa Bekele we're watching here and have seen over the last year or so. He was well aware of the criticism that perhaps he wasn't putting in the work, that he was maybe being distracted by his many business interests. He has a number of hotels in Addis. He has other business interests as well, other demands on his time. Was he putting in the work? Was he doing the hard work? You know, he's 37 years old now. Did he have the appetite for it? And I think, as we mentioned at the top of the programme, that blistering performance in Berlin last year rather put paid to all those suggestions.
No, absolutely. And do you think he would have liked to have a test today, or do you think it would run you on? It'd be pretty easy to really enjoy today, and I hope those runners are.
Still a reasonable way to go, and many of these runners, of course, will be using this big half as preparation for the London Marathon themselves, celebrating its 40th birthday this year. And it's come a long, long way from that first ever London Marathon in 1981. Now, a small change in the women's race here. Not by much, but Lily Partridge now leading the way.
As I was wondering, yeah, when was the first time we were going to see Lily going to the front? I think these ladies have probably got around 3 miles left to go. And Lily will be in heavy training for the marathon. She will have tapered down for this. She will want to feel good. But I wonder how much of it is, how fast can I run those last 3 miles? What can my body do under 10 miles of fatigue?
All credit to Samantha Harrison. Could easily have folded, but she's keeping on the coattails of Lily Partridge, and still a comfortable margin between second and third place. We've got Steph Davis and Hayley Carruthers, who are the chasing two athletes. So it's Partridge in one, just ahead of Sam Harrison in second place. And the clock ticking down now to the finish of the men's race. And Qananisa Bekele, once he hit Tower Bridge, he had pretty much stolen a march on Chris Thompson, still working hard, still aggressive. And I think he's got this course record held by Mo Farah in his sights here. 61.40, remember, Mo Farah, who had the benefit of company last year. He had his training partner with him in the latter stages of the race, so there was a definite sprint finish. And he's working his way in the final couple of minutes of this race towards the iconic Cutty Sark, the famous T-clipper, and they're waiting for him in Greenwich.
What message does this send to you about Qananisa Bekele?
This sends a message. Yeah, this sends a message to say, are you watching Eliud Kipchoge?
Yeah. What do you think he's capable of in Tokyo, if he's capable of this on his own?
I think he's capable of a medal. There's no doubt about it. Coming into the streets of Greenwich, then, many people will be familiar with these sights. Qananisa Bekele, well, I think he's got a course record here. This is the centre of Greenwich, and any minute now, Cutty Sark will loom into vision. He's less than 200 metres to go. Qananisa Bekele, it's been a terrific effort here. Qananisa Bekele is going to smash the course record today. A big performance from a big athlete here. Bekele is back to winning ways in London here. terrific performance. Just outside 60 minutes, he has smashed Mo Farah's course record of 61.40. A winning performance here from Quennenisa Bekele, the best track athlete of all time. And is that a warning, I wonder, for Eliud Kipchoge for the London Marathon, which will